The world called him a dreamer. He called himself a visionary. At just 16, Jamal, a black teen prodigy, dared to do the unthinkable, challenge the most powerful innovator on Earth, Elon Musk. Jamal grew up knowing that the odds were stacked against him. In a world that underestimated his potential, he quietly honed a genius-level talent that few could comprehend. At just 16, he created something the world wasn't ready for, a revolutionary AI that could end energy poverty forever. But when Jamal uploaded his bold idea online, the world watched in shock as Elon Musk, his lifelong idol, dismissed him with a single tweet. What most teens would take as defeat, Jamal saw as fuel for his fire. He dared Musk to a public challenge, a high-stakes showdown that would push their tech to its limits and redefine who truly leads innovation. The world's eyes are now on Jamal, but with powerful forces working against him and a mysterious sponsor hiding dark intentions, the question isn't just whether Jamal can win, but at what cost? Before we dive deeper into this gripping story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Epic Story Moments. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Like, share, and comment to support more incredible stories like this. Jamal sat in his cramped bedroom, surrounded by wires, circuit boards, and a laptop that had long since seen better days. The faint hum of his homemade AI device filled the air, a testament to countless late nights and an unshakable determination to create something extraordinary. At just 16, Jamal had already gained a reputation in his small town for being the kid who could fix anything. But Jamal's dreams stretched far beyond fixing broken phones and tinkering with old computers. He wasn't just solving problems. He was building a future where technology could change lives on a global scale. Born and raised in the working-class neighborhood of Maplewood, Jamal had grown up in an environment where opportunities were few and expectations were low. His mother, Sandra, worked double shifts as a nurse to keep the family afloat, while his younger sister, Mia, looked up to him as her hero. Jamal's father had left when he was barely 5, leaving Sandra to juggle parenting and providing for her children on her own. Yet, despite the hardships, Sandra always found a way to encourage Jamal's curiosity. She'd saved up for his first science kit when he was 8, and the moment he built a working motor out of scraps, she knew her son was destined for greatness. Jamal's fascination with engineering and technology grew with every passing year. By the time he entered high school, he had already taught himself to code using free online resources and old library books. But what truly set Jamal apart was his ability to see technology not as a tool, but as a means to solve humanity's biggest challenges. While his classmates were building simple apps for fun, Jamal was developing algorithms to optimize energy consumption in households. His high school teachers often marveled at his intelligence, but they also worried about him. Maplewood wasn't the kind of place where prodigies thrived. For many, dreams were stifled by the harsh realities of life. But Jamal had a secret weapon: inspiration. From a young age, he had idolized Elon Musk, the billionaire tech visionary who seemed to defy all odds. Musk's audacious projects, Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, had captivated Jamal's imagination. Musk wasn't just a businessman. He was a risk-taker, a dreamer, someone unafraid to challenge the impossible. Jamal spent hours watching Musk's interviews and devouring articles about his innovations. In Musk, he saw not only a role model but a roadmap for his own ambitions. Unlike Musk, however, Jamal wasn't driven by profit or fame. His motivations were deeply personal. Growing up, he had witnessed his mother struggle to pay rising electricity bills and neighbors grapple with power outages during storms. He'd seen how technology, or the lack thereof, could determine the quality of someone's life. For Jamal, innovation wasn't just about pushing boundaries. It was about creating a world where technology served everyone, not just the privileged few. His dream was to design inventions that could bridge the gap between progress and accessibility, starting with his current project, a revolutionary AI system that promised to make renewable energy more efficient and affordable. But dreaming big in a small town came with its own set of challenges. Most people around him didn't understand his ambitions. "Why don't you focus on something practical, like becoming an engineer?" they would ask. Jamal would only smile, knowing they couldn't see what he saw. He didn't want to be just another engineer. He wanted to be a disruptor, someone who left a mark on the world. And while others saw his idolization of Elon Musk as naive, Jamal saw it as motivation. Musk had proven that one person could change the course of history. Jamal believed he could do the same. The first time Jamal tried to emulate Musk's boldness was at the regional science fair. He unveiled his AI prototype, which could analyze and optimize energy grids in real time, potentially reducing energy wastage by up to 40%. While the judges were impressed, they dismissed his project as too ambitious and not feasible at a high school level. Jamal's heart sank, but he refused to let their words discourage him. He returned home that evening and spent hours refining his code, determined to make his invention undeniable. Jamal's mother, ever his biggest supporter, often worried about the weight of his aspirations. "You're only 16, Jamal," she would say, her voice filled with both pride and concern. "You don't have to change the world overnight." But Jamal would simply shake his head. "If I don't start now, Mom, when will I?" he'd reply. He couldn't shake the feeling that time was of the essence. The world was moving fast, and he had no intention of being left behind. One evening, after a particularly grueling session of debugging his AI, Jamal stumbled upon a live-stream keynote by Elon Musk. The billionaire was discussing his latest venture, a satellite network designed to provide internet access to remote areas. As Jamal listened, his admiration deepened, but so did his curiosity. He began to wonder, what would it take to get Musk's attention? Could his AI prototype ever stand on the same stage as Musk's groundbreaking projects? The thought both thrilled and terrified him. That night, as he lay awake staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling, an idea began to form. What if he could present his invention directly to Musk? Not through a science fair or a competition, but through the global stage of the internet. Musk was known for his active presence on social media. If Jamal could find the right way to showcase his work, he might just catch the tech mogul's eye. It was a long shot, but if there was one thing Jamal had learned from Musk, it was that great risks often led to great rewards. With renewed determination, Jamal began preparing for what he called the biggest pitch of my life. He started by recording a video demonstration of his AI prototype, explaining how it worked and the impact it could have on global energy consumption. His sister Mia helped him edit the video, adding music and captions to make it more engaging. "You really think Elon Musk will watch this?" she asked, her tone a mix of skepticism and hope. Jamal shrugged, a small smile playing on his lips. "If he doesn't, the world will." By the time he uploaded the video to social media, Jamal's hands were trembling with excitement and nerves. He tagged Elon Musk in the post, adding a simple caption: "Innovation doesn't need a billion-dollar lab. It just needs a chance." At Elon Musk, are you ready for a new perspective? As the video began to gain traction, Jamal felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something extraordinary. What he didn't realize was that his post would not only grab Musk's attention, but also set off a chain of events that would change his life forever. Jamal stared at the flashing cursor on his laptop screen. The video he had just uploaded was a culmination of years of hard work, late nights, and relentless perseverance. His hands trembled as he tagged Elon Musk in the post, adding the caption that he hoped would grab attention: "Innovation doesn't need a billion-dollar lab. It just needs a chance." At Elon Musk, are you ready for a new perspective? The screen froze for a second as the video processed. When it finally uploaded, Jamal leaned back in his chair, exhaling deeply. He'd done it. He had put himself out there for the world and Elon Musk to see. But the journey to this moment had been far from easy. Just a week earlier, Jamal's confidence had been shaken at the local science fair, where he had hoped to unveil his AI prototype to an audience that might recognize its potential. His invention was nothing short of revolutionary. The AI system he had designed wasn't just an algorithm. It was a full-fledged platform capable of analyzing energy consumption patterns in real time and suggesting optimizations that could reduce waste by nearly 40%. In theory, it had the power to solve energy crises in impoverished regions where electricity was scarce or unreliable. Jamal had spent months perfecting his presentation. He wanted to make sure the judges understood not only the science behind his invention, but also the human impact it could have. He had practiced in front of his sister Mia, who cheered him on despite barely understanding the technical jargon. On the day of the science fair, Jamal stood proudly in front of his booth, his prototype humming softly on the table. The judges, a mix of local educators and small-town entrepreneurs, approached with polite curiosity. Jamal launched into his pitch, explaining the intricacies of his design and its potential applications. At first, the judges seemed impressed. They nodded as he described the AI's ability to integrate with existing infrastructure and its potential to revolutionize renewable energy. But as he delved deeper into the technical aspects, their expressions shifted from intrigue to skepticism. One of the judges, an older man with wire-rimmed glasses, finally spoke up. "This is the ambitious young man," he said, his tone carefully neutral. "But don't you think this is a bit unrealistic? A project like this would require massive funding, not to mention industry support." Jamal's heart sank. He tried to argue his case, explaining that his AI didn't need expensive hardware and was designed to be scalable for low-income communities. But the judges had already moved on, their interest waning. When the winners were announced later that day, Jamal's name wasn't even mentioned. He packed up his booth in silence, the weight of disappointment pressing down on him. At home, Sandra tried to comfort him. "You're too big for that science fair, Jamal," she said, brushing a hand over his hair. "Those judges don't see what I see. You'll find someone who does." Her words lingered in Jamal's mind as he stared at his laptop that night. If the local science fair wasn't the platform for his ideas, then maybe it was time to think bigger. Elon Musk had built his career by taking risks and defying expectations. If Jamal wanted to follow in his footsteps, he needed to be bold. And so, the idea for the video was born. With Mia's help, Jamal recorded a demonstration of his prototype, explaining its purpose in clear, concise terms. He spoke with passion, his voice steady despite the nerves bubbling beneath the surface. "This isn't just about technology," he said in the video's closing moments. "It's about people. It's about giving communities the tools they need to thrive. I believe this can change the world, and I hope you do too." When the video finally went live, Jamal braced himself for the possibility of failure. But to his astonishment, it began gaining traction almost immediately. Within hours, it had racked up thousands of views and hundreds of comments. Strangers from around the world were sharing his post, calling him a prodigy, a genius, a visionary. "You're going to be famous," Mia squealed, practically bouncing off the walls as she watched the view count climb. But Jamal wasn't thinking about fame. He was thinking about Elon Musk. Had he seen the video? Would he respond? The answer came the next morning. Jamal woke up to find his notifications flooded with messages. His heart raced as he spotted a tweet from Musk himself. It was short and direct, just a single line. "Interesting idea, but overly simplistic. Needs more thought." Jamal stared at the screen, the words blurring as his eyes filled with tears. After everything he had poured into his invention, the man he admired most had dismissed it as if it were a school project. The comments beneath Musk's tweet were equally brutal. Critics tore into Jamal's work, accusing him of overestimating his abilities. Some mocked him outright, calling him a wannabe Musk. But amidst the negativity, there were voices of support, people who believed in Jamal's vision, who urged him not to give up. Jamal took a deep breath, forcing himself to focus on those voices. Musk's response might have been dismissive, but it was still a response. That meant he had seen the video. That meant Jamal had managed to get his attention. And if Musk thought Jamal would back down now, he was sorely mistaken. Jamal sat in his room, staring at the cold, empty screen of his laptop. The sting of Elon Musk's dismissive response still lingered, but it wasn't the rejection that troubled him the most. It was the feeling that his dream, his vision, was being overshadowed by the expectations of others. They saw a young black teen from a small town trying to play with the big boys, and they didn't take him seriously. But Jamal knew something they didn't. He wasn't just any kid. He was a genius. And this was just the beginning. He couldn't afford to give up. There was too much at stake. The world needed change. And if the world wasn't ready for his innovation, then he'd just have to make them ready. A sense of fire stirred in his chest. If Musk couldn't see the potential in his AI, then Jamal would prove it, not with words, but with results. He would refine the prototype, make it better, and show the world that what he was creating wasn't just an idea. It was a solution. He had nothing to lose and everything to gain. The first thing Jamal did was get to work. He knew his AI could do more. It just needed to be optimized. There were inefficiencies in the code, areas where it lagged in its ability to predict and optimize energy use in real time. He spent the next few days hunched over his desk, the glow of his laptop screen lighting up his tired face as he worked tirelessly to perfect the algorithm. For days, he barely slept, eating nothing but pizza rolls and cereal in the few hours he allowed himself to rest. But Jamal knew he couldn't do it alone. The task was too large, and he needed more than just his own skills. He needed a team, people who could bring fresh ideas and new expertise to the table. But where could he find people willing to work on something so unconventional? People who believed in his vision? People who understood the potential of his AI? That's when Jamal thought of his school. His high school had a small but dedicated group of students who were just as passionate about technology as he was. They might not have the same skills he did, but they had something else, raw potential. Jamal decided to tap into that potential, inviting some of his friends and classmates to join his project. The first to agree was Layla, a talented coder who had created her own AI chatbot for a school competition. She wasn't a fan of Jamal's direct approach. He'd been pushing people to join for days, but when she saw his persistence, she realized this wasn't some fleeting idea. Jamal was serious. Layla knew that her skills could help improve his work, and her analytical mind was just what he needed to identify the weak points in his prototype. Next came Ahmed, a quiet but brilliant young hacker who had a knack for cracking problems no one else could. He had always been a bit of an outsider, someone who kept to himself, but Jamal recognized his talent immediately. Ahmed had never been one to back down from a challenge, and when Jamal pitched his vision to him, Ahmed agreed without hesitation. "I've been waiting for something like this," Ahmed said, his voice low but confident. The last to join was Nadia, a mathematics prodigy whose reputation for solving complex problems spread far beyond their small town. Nadia was known for her talent with numbers, her ability to break down complex equations and make sense of them. When Jamal asked her to join, she was skeptical at first. She wasn't sure how her skills in advanced math would apply to an AI project. But Jamal explained how her ability to analyze patterns and optimize data could be key to fine-tuning the algorithm. After some thought, Nadia agreed, eager to contribute to something that could change the world. With the team in place, they began working around the clock, poring over lines of code and brainstorming ways to improve the system. It was grueling work, but there was a sense of purpose in the air. They knew this wasn't just a school project. They were building something that could make a difference. As the team continued to refine the AI, Jamal received an unexpected message that would change everything. The message came from an anonymous account with the username @TechMentorX. The message itself was short and cryptic. "Your invention has potential. If you want to take it to the next level, let's talk. I can offer funding and mentorship." Jamal sat back in his chair, rereading the message twice to make sure he hadn't misread it. Could this be real? Who was behind this offer? Jamal's mind raced. The idea of funding and mentorship was exactly what they needed to get the prototype off the ground, but something didn't sit right with him. The message was so vague, and the user was anonymous. Was this a scam, or was it the opportunity he'd been waiting for? Jamal decided to take the risk. He responded with a cautious message. expressing interest, but also seeking clarification about who was behind the offer and what they wanted in return. Within hours, he received a reply. "Let's meet. I can help you reach your goals, but I need to understand your vision first." The message ended with an address and a time. 2 p.m. in a cafe on the outskirts of town. The anonymity of the encounter only made Jamal more suspicious, but he couldn't ignore the opportunity. It was clear that if he wanted to turn his prototype into something bigger, he needed help, and this could be the way to get it. As Jamal prepared for the meeting, his mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. What if this was the break he'd been hoping for? What if this was the start of something monumental? But what if it was a trap? The unknown sender could be anyone, someone with good intentions or someone with a hidden agenda. There was only one way to find out. With a final glance at the team, who were hard at work on the prototype, Jamal stood up, grabbed his coat, and headed out the door. Whatever this meeting was, it could be the turning point in his journey. It could make or break everything. But he was ready, because Jamal knew that no matter what happened, he would never stop fighting for his vision. Jamal's mind raced as he sat alone in his room, staring at the blank screen of his laptop. The meeting with the mysterious sponsor had gone. Well, it hadn't gone at all. He'd waited for hours at the cafe, but the person never showed up. The lack of clarity left Jamal feeling both frustrated and wary. The idea of trusting an anonymous benefactor now seemed reckless, and the doubts in his mind grew stronger. Still, he couldn't let the silence deter him. He had a bigger plan in mind, one that could change everything. If Musk wouldn't take him seriously, then Jamal would force him to. The world needed to see that the teen from a small town wasn't just another dreamer. He was a force to be reckoned with. He had to prove that his technology was real, his vision was viable, and his passion could never be extinguished by a few dismissive words from a billionaire. Jamal sat up straight, his fingers hovering over the keyboard as a sudden wave of determination surged through him. He'd been up against the odds his entire life. His circumstances, his background, his youth, none of that mattered. He knew what he had. He knew what his AI could do. It was time to make the world see it. And the only way to do that was to challenge the most visible and influential figure in the tech world, Elon Musk. With a deep breath, Jamal began typing. His hands moved quickly, with the weight of his decision pressing on him. He wasn't just drafting a letter or an email. He was preparing to take the boldest step of his life. The message he crafted was simple, yet packed with confidence. He called it a challenge. Elon Musk, you've been known to push the boundaries of what's possible in technology. From launching reusable rockets to driving the world toward a future of electric vehicles, your work has inspired millions. But I believe the real challenge lies in something more pressing, solving the global energy crisis, and doing it in a way that is accessible to everyone, not just those who can afford a premium product. I am a 16-year-old inventor from a small town, and I've developed an AI system that can reduce energy waste by up to 40%. I understand you have your own vision, but I believe my prototype has the potential to make a greater impact, especially on communities in dire need of energy solutions. I propose a competition. Let's take on a real-world crisis together, one where our technology can make a tangible difference. If my AI proves to be more effective than any of your current solutions, I challenge you to fund and adopt my technology. If I lose, I will shut down my project and walk away from the future I've been working toward. I hope you're up for the challenge. Sincerely, Jamal. Jamal hit send before he could second-guess himself. The world would soon know what he was capable of. He felt a rush of excitement pulse through him. His heart was pounding as he sat back in his chair, waiting for some sign, anything, that this bold move was going to pay off. He had put everything on the line, but deep down, Jamal knew there was no turning back now. It didn't take long for the reaction to come. Within hours, the message spread like wildfire across the internet. His challenge was everywhere. The media outlets, tech blogs, and social media platforms were ablaze with headlines like, 16-year-old genius challenges Elon Musk to a public tech showdown. Can Jamal's AI outdo Musk's vision for the future? Young innovator calls out Musk in high-stakes energy crisis face-off. At first, many of the reactions were skeptical. Critics questioned whether Jamal, a teenager with no formal funding, could possibly stand up to Musk's years of experience and financial resources. Some dismissed it as a publicity stunt, a young boy biting off more than he could chew. But the story was too compelling to ignore. Jamal wasn't just some random kid with a crazy idea. He was a tech prodigy, and his invention was showing promise. Then, the unexpected happened. A tweet from Elon Musk himself appeared on Jamal's feed. Impressive, but can your prototype handle the scale required to address global challenges? Let's see what you've got. The internet erupted. Jamal's challenge had been acknowledged. Musk had taken it seriously. For Jamal, this was both a victory and a fresh set of challenges. He had the attention of the world, but now he had to deliver. The stakes were higher than ever. If he couldn't prove his technology in the public eye, he would be forced to give up his dream. There was no safety net. But Jamal wasn't scared. He was ready. The media began to cover every angle of the story. Jamal's social media accounts were flooded with messages of support from young innovators, aspiring engineers, and ordinary people who saw in him the same passion and drive they carried in their own hearts. But there were also those who criticized him, dismissing him as naive and incapable of winning a competition with one of the wealthiest and most influential people in the world. The hype around the challenge escalated by the day. News stations picked up the story. People began debating whether Jamal had the potential to outsmart Musk. His AI prototype became the focus of countless think pieces, discussions, and even mock debates on late-night talk shows. The world was watching, but as the coverage expanded, so did the pressure. Jamal knew the world was waiting for him to fail, and if he did, the fallout would be brutal. The media, hungry for the next viral story, would be quick to label him a fool. He would be nothing more than another young dreamer whose big ideas came crashing down. And yet, as the scrutiny grew, Jamal's resolve only strengthened. He had come this far, and he wasn't about to let his dreams slip through his fingers. Days passed, and the clock ticked down to the announced start of the competition, a live-streamed event where Jamal and Musk would each showcase their energy-saving technologies. The stage was set for a high-stakes, public battle that would shape the future of innovation. Jamal's heart raced in anticipation. The eyes of the world were now on him. Would Jamal's AI live up to the hype? Would he prove that young talent, not just money and experience, could change the world? The countdown had begun. The day of the competition arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. Millions of viewers across the globe tuned in for what promised to be the most anticipated tech showdown in history. The venue was a sleek, modern auditorium, equipped with the latest technology and broadcasted to homes, offices, and screens everywhere. Jamal stood backstage, his heart pounding in his chest. The media had hyped the event to a fever pitch, and the world was watching. Elon Musk had arrived early as expected, his usual confident and slightly enigmatic persona casting a shadow over the proceedings. He was an icon in the tech world, his every move scrutinized by the masses. He had a reputation for pushing the boundaries of innovation, but today, his biggest challenge would come from someone no one had seen coming, a 16-year-old from a small town who had dared to challenge the empire Musk had built. Jamal wasn't worried about the spectacle. He knew what he had. His AI prototype was ready, and it was capable of more than just solving global energy issues. It could uncover hidden flaws in existing technologies, a revelation that had been overlooked by many of the world's most brilliant minds. Today, he was not just participating in a competition. He was here to expose the truth. The stage was set. Both Jamal and Musk stood at their respective stations, each surrounded by a team of engineers and tech experts. The live-streamed event was being broadcasted worldwide, with a countdown ticking down to the start. Jamal adjusted his tie, his nerves under control, though his mind raced with strategy. The host of the event, a well-known tech journalist, introduced both participants. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, his voice booming over the loudspeakers, "today, we're witnessing a historical moment. Two visionaries, one a renowned tech mogul and the other a young genius with an idea that's turning heads, are here to showcase their solutions to one of the world's most urgent problems, the global energy crisis. With a wave of the host's hand, the competition began. Elon Musk's team went first. His demonstration was slick, polished, everything you'd expect from the Tesla and SpaceX founder. His solution was impressive, an updated version of the energy-efficient systems that powered Tesla vehicles and solar farms. He showcased how his technology could save energy and reduce waste across vast sectors, including transportation and home energy systems. The crowd applauded and the media buzzed with excitement. Musk's solution, while innovative, was not groundbreaking. It was an evolution of something that already existed, a refinement of ideas that were already being implemented. But it was still an extraordinary feat, and the audience was impressed. Then it was Jamal's turn. He stood confidently at his station, his team by his side, as his AI prototype powered up. The large screen behind him flickered to life, showing a graph of energy consumption data, followed by real-time calculations of energy savings. Jamal explained, his voice steady and clear, "My AI system doesn't just optimize energy usage. It predicts future consumption patterns and offers solutions tailored to every specific environment, whether it's a small rural community or a sprawling metropolis. It can forecast the needs of the grid, minimize energy waste, and even repair itself if there's a failure." The screen behind him shifted to a live demo, showcasing how the AI could detect inefficiencies in a given energy system. It then adjusted the parameters, automatically rerouting power to where it was needed most, reducing waste. The crowd was stunned into silence. But then came the moment that would change everything. Jamal's AI system didn't just stop at showcasing its power. It went a step further. As the demo continued, the AI detected a flaw in Musk's technology, one that even Musk's engineers hadn't identified. The flaw was subtle, but it was there, buried deep within the system. A small, yet critical inefficiency in the way energy was being stored in Tesla's solar batteries. It wasn't a huge issue, but in the world of cutting-edge technology, even the smallest flaw could be the difference between success and failure. Jamal didn't just point it out in passing. He highlighted the flaw with precision, showing how his AI would have flagged and corrected the issue before it could even reach the consumer. "This," Jamal said, his voice steady, "is why my system isn't just solving the energy crisis. It's building a future where we can rely on our technology without worrying about hidden weaknesses." The room went silent. Musk's face remained unreadable, his eyes narrowing as he observed the flaw Jamal had uncovered. The audience, too, was in stunned disbelief. This wasn't just a competition between two ideas. It was a battle between two generations of innovation, and Jamal had just taken a significant lead. The media exploded with questions. How had Jamal known about the flaw? Was this a coincidence? Or had he intentionally targeted Musk's system? Was the teen genius truly more capable than the tech giant? Jamal's AI wasn't just a tool. It had exposed a vulnerability in a system that had been hailed as perfect by the masses. Suspense built to a fever pitch as the host turned to Elon Musk for his response. The world waited in anticipation, the tension palpable. Would Musk admit to the flaw? Would he attempt to dismiss Jamal's findings? Or would he accept the challenge and acknowledge the younger prodigy's brilliance? For a long moment, Musk remained silent, his eyes fixed on the screen. Then, with a slight nod, he turned to the host and spoke. "Well," Musk said, his voice calm but tinged with an edge of respect, "it looks like we have a new player in the game. Jamal, your AI prototype is impressive. It's clear you've thought of things that even the best engineers missed." The crowd erupted into applause. But there was something else in Musk's words that wasn't lost on Jamal, a subtle acknowledgement of defeat. Musk didn't just brush off the flaw. He recognized it. And in doing so, he admitted that Jamal's innovation had surpassed his own. This wasn't just a win for Jamal. It was a seismic shift in the world of technology. As the event continued, the media frenzy only intensified. Jamal had done the unthinkable. He had outperformed one of the most brilliant minds in tech. The suspense had not only kept the audience hooked, but it also revealed the harsh reality of the world they lived in. Even the giants could be dethroned. Jamal had not just participated in a competition. He had changed the course of history. The aftermath of the competition was nothing short of a media frenzy. Jamal's name was everywhere: headlines, social media, interviews, and news outlets. His victory over Elon Musk, the tech giant who had once been considered untouchable, became a turning point in the global tech industry. But amidst the excitement and the flood of accolades, Jamal felt an unease settle in his chest. The world had seen his brilliance. Yet, the moment he'd been waiting for, the moment when his name would be etched into history as a trailblazer in AI and energy solutions, wasn't quite as fulfilling as he had imagined. Something about the events that had transpired left him with a lingering sense of uncertainty. It wasn't long before Musk made his move. During a live-stream press conference, Musk appeared on screen, standing before an array of media personnel. His usual confidence still intact, but his demeanor different from the one Jamal had witnessed during the competition. Musk, for the first time in his career, was acknowledging a challenger who had outdone him. Not with anger or dismissiveness, but with admiration. "Ladies and gentlemen," Musk began, his voice calm and measured. "What happened here today wasn't just a competition. It was the birth of a new era. Jamal's innovation has far surpassed what many believed was possible, and I recognize that. His AI prototype is the future, and I believe it has the potential to change the world in ways that even I couldn't have imagined." Jamal sat in his living room, watching the broadcast unfold before him. A mix of emotions swirled in his chest: pride, excitement, and confusion. Why was Musk acknowledging his success so graciously? Was this genuine respect, or was there an ulterior motive lurking beneath the surface? Musk continued, his voice taking on a more personal tone. "Jamal, you've earned my respect, and I'd like to make an offer. Instead of just being a competitor, I want to be a partner. Together, we can revolutionize the energy sector, and I want to fund your project and work alongside you. Your genius deserves to be recognized, and I believe this collaboration could take both our ideas to new heights." Jamal's heart raced. This was a moment he had dreamed of, the chance to work with one of the most influential people in the tech world. The invitation seemed too good to be true, and yet a small voice inside him warned that there might be more to this than met the eye. Was Musk genuinely offering partnership, or was this a calculated move to protect his own interests? Just as Jamal began to process Musk's offer, a sudden interruption disrupted his thoughts. His phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. He hesitated for a moment before opening it, unsure of what to expect. The message was short but cryptic. Asterisk, "We need to talk. Meet us at the old warehouse on 5th Street. Don't trust Musk." Asterisk. Jamal's pulse quickened. The text was from the mysterious sponsor who had offered him funding and mentorship earlier in the process. They had disappeared after the competition, their intentions unclear. Now, they were back, and the words "don't trust Musk" echoed ominously in Jamal's mind. His instincts told him to go, but the question lingered. Why had they warned him against Musk? Was there a hidden agenda behind Musk's sudden generosity? With little time to waste, Jamal made his decision. He had to find out the truth, and fast. He grabbed his jacket and left his apartment, his mind racing with questions. As he drove toward the warehouse, the city lights blurred past him, but his thoughts remained laser-focused. What had Musk really meant by his offer? And what did the sponsor know that Jamal didn't? The warehouse was located on the outskirts of town, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. As Jamal parked his car and approached the building, the air felt thick with tension. The place was dark, abandoned, and silent, save for the distant sound of rustling leaves in the wind. Jamal's footsteps echoed as he entered, his heart pounding in his chest. He wasn't sure what he expected, but what he found inside was even more unsettling than he could have imagined. A figure stood in the shadows, cloaked in a dark coat, their face obscured. When they spoke, their voice was low and calm, but the weight of their words hit Jamal like a punch to the gut. "Jamal, you've come far, but this is just the beginning. The world you're stepping into is much darker than you realize. Musk may have offered you a partnership, but his intentions are not as pure as they seem. He's after something you don't even know you have yet. Jamal's eyes narrowed, trying to make sense of the cryptic words. What do you mean? Why would Musk want to partner with me if he's just going to take advantage of me? The figure stepped forward, revealing themselves to be a woman, an older woman, perhaps in her mid-40s, with piercing eyes that seemed to see through Jamal. Because, Jamal, you've created something extraordinary, something powerful, and Musk knows that if he partners with you, he'll gain control over your innovation. He's not interested in collaborating. He's interested in owning it. Jamal's mind raced. The pieces were starting to come together, but it didn't make sense. So, you're saying Musk wants to steal my work? No, the woman said, her voice soft but firm. He wants to absorb it, manipulate it, and use it for his own purposes. Your AI could change the world, Jamal, but not if Musk gets his hands on it. He's already built a monopoly on energy and technology, and your success threatens that. He'll either bring you into his empire or crush you. You can't trust him. Jamal stood frozen, the weight of the decision bearing down on him. He had always dreamed of collaborating with Musk, but now the possibility felt like a dangerous game. His breakthrough had the potential to change the world. But was he ready to navigate the murky waters of betrayal, power, and manipulation? Before he could respond, the woman handed him an envelope, its contents a mystery. This will give you the leverage you need. The choice is yours, Jamal. Will you trust Musk and risk losing control of your invention? Or will you take a different path? Jamal's heart raced as he accepted the envelope. The moment of truth had arrived. He had to decide whether to align with the tech mogul who had just offered him a partnership, or take a leap of faith and trust a mysterious sponsor who seemed to have his own hidden agenda. The clock was ticking, and the fate of Jamal's future, and the future of technology itself, now rested in his hands. The tension that had been building in Jamal's mind over the past few days finally came to a head. He had the envelope in his hands, and with it, the weight of his future. His heart pounded as he walked back to his car, his mind racing with the choices before him. Could he trust the mysterious sponsor who had once offered him mentorship, but now seemed to have his own agenda? Or was the path with Elon Musk, despite the doubt surrounding his true intentions, the better option? As Jamal sat behind the wheel, his fingers gripped the steering wheel tight, his thoughts consumed by the decision. The sponsor's words echoed in his mind. Musk will take control. He'll absorb your work and twist it to serve his own interests. He won't let you remain independent. The idea of losing control over his invention, something he had poured his heart and soul into, felt like a betrayal of everything he had worked for. But as Jamal stared at the envelope, he realized that he had something the sponsor didn't expect. His own ingenuity, his ability to think on his feet. Jamal was no ordinary teenager. He was a genius, and he had outsmarted bigger challenges before. This wouldn't be any different. He wasn't going to let anyone, not Musk, and certainly not the sponsor, take what was rightfully his. He had earned the success, and he would fight to keep it. In a moment of clarity, Jamal made his decision. He knew what he had to do. The next day, he called an emergency meeting with his most trusted team members. There was no room for hesitation now. Everything hinged on this plan. He explained the situation, Musk's offer and the sponsor's hidden agenda, and how he intended to outsmart them both. Jamal's team, a diverse group of young innovators from various backgrounds, listened intently. They had always supported him. But now it was time to put everything they'd learned into practice. Jamal's plan was deceptively simple but brilliant. Instead of accepting Musk's direct offer or falling into the sponsor's trap, he would turn the tables on both of them. The sponsor had already revealed one flaw in their plan. They were using Jamal's innovation as leverage. What if Jamal could create a new prototype, something even better than what he had already developed, and present it to both parties at the same time? His new invention would be an upgrade, an evolved version of his original AI prototype that would not only solve energy crises, but also enhance accessibility for underprivileged communities. the very people Musk claimed he wanted to help. This move would force both Musk and the sponsor into a corner, unable to manipulate Jamal's work without revealing their true motives. They would have no choice but to collaborate with him on his terms. The team went to work. Day and night, they refined the prototype, making sure that every line of code, every design element was flawless. Jamal wasn't just creating a new product. He was creating a statement of independence, of resilience, and of power. His invention would speak for itself, and no one could take that from him. After weeks of intense work, the new prototype was ready. Jamal called a press conference, inviting both Musk and the sponsor to attend. The tension was palpable as the media gathered, eager to see how the story would unfold. Would Musk finally take control of Jamal's invention, or would the sponsor reveal their true intentions? And, more importantly, would Jamal succeed in outsmarting them both? When Musk walked into the room, his usual confidence was tempered with curiosity. He had no idea what Jamal had been working on in the meantime, and when the young genius presented his new prototype, Musk's expression faltered. The new AI solution was beyond anything Musk had ever imagined. It was sleek, efficient, and capable of solving the energy crisis in ways Musk's own projects had yet to achieve. It was a game changer. The media erupted in applause, and Jamal's team beamed with pride. Musk, ever the professional, remained composed, but there was no hiding the admiration in his eyes. Jamal had done it. He had outsmarted them both. And then, as if on cue, the mysterious sponsor stepped forward, their face a mask of frustration. They had expected Jamal to fall into their trap, to rely on them for funding and guidance. But now they saw that Jamal had taken control of his own destiny. With a look of resignation, they spoke. "You've won, Jamal. But remember, power always comes with a price." Jamal stood tall, his eyes unwavering. "I'm not interested in power, but in making a real difference. I've worked hard for this, and I won't let anyone take it from me." With the sponsor's defeat came a new challenge. The media and the public were eager to know what Jamal would do next. Would he sell out to a corporation like Musk's or stay true to his mission? Would he allow himself to be molded by others? Or would he carve his own path? Jamal, ever the visionary, had a plan. He shook hands with Musk in front of the cameras, but the handshake wasn't a gesture of submission. It was one of mutual respect. The two of them, along with Jamal's team, would announce a collaborative project aimed at bringing Jamal's energy solution to underprivileged communities around the world. This would be no ordinary partnership. It would be a collaboration based on equality, transparency, and a shared goal of improving the lives of those who needed it most. The announcement was met with overwhelming support. Jamal's name was now synonymous with innovation, perseverance, and social change. He had shown the world that it wasn't about who you knew or how much money you had. It was about the strength of your ideas and your determination to see them through. In the months that followed, Jamal's project took off. Schools, hospitals, and entire neighborhoods that had once struggled with unreliable energy sources now had access to Jamal's groundbreaking technology. His invention was being implemented worldwide, changing the lives of millions. Jamal had gone from a small-town genius with big dreams to an icon of innovation. His story was one of inspiration, showing that perseverance, ingenuity, and integrity could overcome any obstacle. He had faced the darkest forces in the tech world, but instead of falling prey to them, he had risen above, creating a legacy that would inspire a new generation of thinkers, creators, and problem solvers. In the end, Jamal proved that the future didn't belong to those who played it safe or followed the rules. The future belonged to those who dared to challenge the system, who refused to let anyone dictate their path. And Jamal had just begun to write his story, that if Jamal's story inspired you, imagine what you could achieve by following your passion and staying true to your vision. Don't let obstacles stand in your way. Push forward, just like Jamal did. Hit the subscribe button for more incredible stories of perseverance and innovation. Share this video with others who need a dose of motivation. And don't forget to click the bell icon for updates on our latest content. Keep striving for greatness, and who knows, You could be the next game changer,